Thank you. Thomas, you may sit down as well. So, welcome now. We're about to embark a journey on the retail media aspect. And with us today are experts across the ecosystem. We have a legacy publisher, a marketplace leader, a tech platform, and a consultant helping retailers navigate this evolving space. So, without further ado, besides Thomas, who's presented previously, please welcome on stage Dilem Guler, Director Business Development, 15-year veteran and alumni IAB Person of the Year. Welcome on stage. We have Martin Andersson, celebrating 25 years with Pricerunner, part of Klarna as head of merchants. And we have Sara Bolojo, co-founder and CEO of Retailer Media, a former media agency veteran that flipped coins and is now focusing on pioneering the space of retail media. Welcome. I think we'll do this. Could you move to that? Yeah, you please. And you sit there. Yes. Okay, first of all, most welcome to you, all of you guys. Daniel started the day by talking about that retail media could potentially be one of the key focus areas for growth for the programmatic space. Obviously, there are some hurdles that need to be overcome. We're talking about, obviously, we need supply. That's the most given one. We need demand, obviously. We need tech. And we also need competence. And that's why you guys are here, representing all of that opportunities. So, first of all, just a general question for you. How can retail media help the industry to expand? Anyone?
You know, I can definitely elaborate on that. You know, we have been introducing retail media for a long time, but we struggle a little with the formatting. What are the correct formats? How can we really, you know, get better structure on that so we really can sell more?
It's interesting because, I mean, you know, it is like digital. It is visitors coming in, but the competencies on a marketplace or a retailer is completely different. I usually say that publishers, they have ad operators, and retailers, they have UX designers, which are basically in contrary. How have you overcome that situation?
Testing all the time, testing different formats. Now here at Klarna, we introduced one app this summer, really a new platform for our users. 85 million users are using it. So we have a lot of users to test on. So we're just trying to test and find the right formats, a high impact format, native formats, really trying to find what is working for the advertisers.
Sarah, we're happy to have you here from all the way from Italy. And obviously, as I briefly mentioned, you are a veteran from the tech scene as well, coming in now to the retail media space. Through your lenses, what was it that you saw that made you want to shift and focus on this area?
Well, first of all, I'm missing a real clear definition of what retail media is, but this is a crucial point because we have the great example of Walmart. That is something that we are all dreaming about, but I don't think it's going to happen in the same way in the European market. In Italy, for sure, but because there is a lot of fragmentation, the retailers are really small. In Italy, only 3% of the population does e-grocery online, so there is no sites to compare the things. And also, retailers, they are very big from a revenue point of view, and you have to have the courage to go to them and say, okay, you are the best in class from a grocery point of view, but as a media player, you are something like nothing. So we need to build up about your numbers, about the consent, because they don't have the consent to make third-party players using their data, their space. So it's a long journey, and there is sometimes a pretty difficult conversation to have with them.
Yes.
And there is a lot of politics. Because
yeah, but coming from outside, it's like the obvious thing would be that, you know, sharing the opportunity with retail media would be like kicking in an open door. You get money from the 98% that you don't get any revenue from, that is not buying anything. And on the bottom line, you have 50, 60% net margin. But then again, Why is that not the case, that they see the same picture as, like, from a media perspective?
Well, they are a little scared of losing clients because, first of all, they are advertisers and big advertiser. In Italy, the grocery company are the biggest advertising after food. So the second, there is no performance because being e-commerce so small on food and grocery, we cannot sell it on a performance model. So the scale that we are imagining is not really happening soon. We are testing Programmatic Convert. That, by the way, I love it. Thank you very much for doing it. And, and it's working very well, but need to be adapted to European markets.
What is the nature of your discussions with retailers and marketplaces today from a tech point of view?
Yeah, I mean, we are out talking to the retailers, and they are a gold mine of the data. So we wanted to bring the data to the buyers together with the retailers without disturbing the visitors, of course. So that's the main thing that we are out and talking to the retailers right now.
Yeah. And Dylan, from your perspective, I mean, I know that you've, like Bonnier saw this early stage, and you really invested heavily in making like the foundation to really enable to utilize the benefits of retail media. Where are you today in this matter?
I mean, I like to talk about it a bit broader and talk about commerce media rather than just being retail media, because I think there's a lot of more players that can benefit from this. And I think it's, you know, we shouldn't complicate it too much. It's about seeing the value of first-party data, basically, and creating an opportunity to really start talking about data not in a transactional way, in a digital way, but really looking at how we can sell data and combine data together. I mean, legacy publishers say yes, but we've been working with commerce media for many years because we are promoting our own products with our own first-party data on our own sites. So I mean, we are the experts in this. But it's not that simple. In, you know, why don't we just do it? I mean, this is a very much organization question. So, you know, the CMO can't just work with this by themselves. I would say CMO, CRM, data has been 3 different departments. So retailers and e-commerce players need to reorganize everything, and that takes a long time. And you also need privacy, you know, legal teams into that. And we've done this 6-7 years ago, not thinking about retail media, but we should do something with our data and really focusing on, you know, creating this data structure across Bonnier. So it makes it much easier now to connect other players. But that takes a long time. I mean, third wave, Programmatic 15 years ago, people were like, yes, of course, but they needed to have a new tech stack, new people, reorganize, and that took a while. I think retail media or commerce media needs to do the same journey. And I welcome that discussion because I think that's the core, and not only why aren't we doing this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think like many people forget about that you know, the programmatic scene took. I mean, we said it 5 years ago that we were still not even a teenager in the phase, and we had been going on for almost a decade by then. Yeah. So obviously it will take time, but from a tech perspective, do you see that all the necessary tech is available? So it's not a hurdle tech-wise?
No, not from our end. I mean, if there is any things that we need to do, we will fix that and involve. We do that together today on a daily basis with Klarna, and so we have the foundation of it. But there is perhaps some demands from Klarna that we would like to do this, and then hopefully we'll have that in a week. But we will solve it.
Regarding internal discussions, you mentioned about testing and etc. What kind of attention does this initiative have inside your organization in Klarna?
Quite a lot, I would say. I think Klarna is developing a third leg next to the payments and AI that is really advertising. So this is a high priority for us. We want to find the right way to do it. And as Thomas said, we are experimenting with Programmatic. It's working really well for us, the first signs that we see in the US market. We are now ready to roll that out to the rest of Europe. So definitely have a high priority, but you know, it's like everything else, we need to prioritize and do what we can to do and implement it the right way. So it takes time.
And what's the end goal for you guys?
I don't think we have an end goal. You know, we are constantly developing, constantly testing, improving the results. So it's an ongoing effort, and we will be talking about programmatic in 10 years from now again. So no end goal, just doing the best we can for users and delivering great results for our advertisers.
But I mean, the end goal should be to sell more, obviously.
Yeah, but it's for us, it's really for programmatic and for retail media, it's going to be a third leg of our business. It's going to be an important business part, and that's where we're going towards, of course.
Dilem, you mentioned yourself commerce media, and which is obviously a broader term for retail media as such. Hotel, airlines, taxis, home delivery services, etc., are all included there. What other data feeds are you guys like today working with, and what are you looking into?
Data feeds, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of collaborations around our CRM data. You know, we have 50% of our page views are logged in data. We have 52% coverage on households in Sweden. So we have large databases, and I think there's a lot of collaborations going on with other companies on how we can drive subscription for each other, for instance, and I think that's really interesting. So you put a real value on the subscriber rather than just connect it to an impression. But
now you're talking internally.
No, outside, with other companies also. Yeah. I think the collaboration where you find other brands that are similar with your brands and you have, you know, the same target groups, you can do a lot of interesting things. But also working with much more with, you know, data is important for us, obviously, for our own market, but, you know, putting a value on it, drive subscriptions, learning a lot about that, and how you can model on new products that you then can use to advertisers on the advertising space. So I think that kind of questions will be coming more and more, but we see that there's a lot of restrictions from the advertiser part when it comes to matching data. They are not there yet. There's a lot of legal constructions. You need to have consent. Not a lot of people have that. So I think that there's a lot to be done. And what I see is that we don't talk that much about how we should combine the data. The most part of the conversation is how did we solve the legal part? So we are like, you know, taking our legal department to the meetings, and I love that. You know, legal being an advertising meeting, that's a dream. But I think that's really important. And then you have to have your legal department that understands what you want to do and understands the business. So this is a new world, I would say, a new era, and I welcome it because I think it's putting, you know, the real discussion needs to be the value of the data, not only on how, you know, how many impressions or reach you're going to get.
Right. But do you get a phone call from like a random retailer saying that we have a lot of data, but we don't have the reach, we don't seem to be able to capitalize on it enough? Is there a discussion around that? Do they see the potential in this?
They definitely see it, and we are, I don't know how random they are, but we have good connections with most retailers, obviously being the biggest media house in the Nordics. Just needed to put it in there. But I mean, definitely discussion is there, but I think it's not that easy. It's not about connecting to cables and then we're on. I think there is a large interest, and we are talking about it, doing small tests, but I think the business side is not there yet. So is it going to be a normal campaign that we just put in data, or is it going to be that we create new products together? What is the business model? I think we're struggling there still, and also the reach. So you can't expect to have a big reach when you're talking about CRM data. It doesn't make sense. So what is the model there? Are you going to buy our data, and what's the value on that? So I think there's a lot to do yet, and nobody has put in, you know, a good structure on it. And I mean, it's very complicated to look at Klarna and Amazon, which are digital first. I mean, the most interesting parts will come when SAS, SJ, Telia starts to do this, and they are legacy companies. So they really need to get their things together and be more mature in having that discussion. But just using your first-party data, connected it to a SSP and buy it online, I think, is that retail media? No, I would say that's programmatic. Now we're talking about the next level on really working with your first-party data and getting the value.
Sarah, when you're discussing with the clients, what's the nature of those discussions at this point?
Well, the most difficult part is to have them understanding that the targeting is done on a completely different base. So it's not anymore women between 25, 45 with an attitude for makeup or whatever. I know exactly who is the buyer. It's the product itself that is teaching us who is the buyer. And this is a flip-flop of all the ABC of media we learned up to now. And it's not easy to go to people like Publicis or Xaxis and tell them, you don't know nothing about your consumer. I tell you who is the buyer. And this is not an easy conversation. So not easy conversation with retailers, not easy conversation with buyers. I don't know how long it's going to take to have easy conversations. But this is crucial. And the performance of the campaign we are running are crazy high compared with the performance of a normal media campaign, even in programmatic with the good data. Because at the end of the day, you are making retargeting on people that buys a product or companion product that usually are bought with the product that you want to advertise. So we need to build up a lot about how different are the data from a retailer compared with any other publisher. And even the retailer has the consciousness of how rich are their data. So it's a both-side conversation, and it needs to build up step by step, brick by brick.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have talked about the importance of data during these events and elsewhere for a very long time. And a couple of years ago, I posed the question, is the campaigns performing better now than they did on I/O? And people did not give me a clear yes answer, actually. We have put so much effort into collecting data and trying to enrich it, and there are a number of players in between, and still we're not sure if they're performing better. Martin, in your case, coming from the context where you come, with the quality of the data must be of essence. Is it even possible to say no to the quality of your data, and how do you transform that into performance?
I think the quality of data is everything for us. Placing the campaigns in the right context, having the data to predict that and run campaign with that is so important. We are not 100% there yet. We are just scratching the surface at Klarna. But we have huge possibilities, and we are exploring that. But I think that is what makes the difference between a good campaign and a bad campaign. It is the data behind it.
And I'm now, let's play a game. I am Whaler Media Agency Limited, and I approach you and I say, I want to buy a campaign. What do you have to offer me?
I think with that many users that we have, we will be able to offer you a campaign that is directly targeted towards whoever you want to be interested in. We have that possibilities. So whether you want to buy a lawn mower or you are looking for a travel or whatever you do, we will be able to predict that and serve an ad to that user.
Excellent. Thomas, from your side, the collection of data and the enrichment of data, can you share a little bit about that process from a SSP point of view?
Yeah, it's possible if a publisher brings in the data to our platform. It's possible to bring that data on a regular basis campaign, and then you have the target, let's say women 29 to 59, and Klarna has that, and you can bring that on top of your campaign, max reach Sweden or Denmark, or you select the publishers that you want to work with. So the ultimate thing is that I want to combine several publishers' data all together. Then you get a lot of reach. But
that's excellent. I see two gentlemen in the middle here. They give optimistic views, and then I see two very realistic women on their sides, sharing the reality, maybe more or so. If we were to share one key message that we want the audience to take away about commerce media, about retail media, what would that be? Starting with you.
So that there is Amazon. This is kind of Champions League. And is in the space. And then there is the soccer championship of churches in every single village. That is what retail media is today. So set your expectation on this. So Amazon is the dream that we all have. Then there is the reality with people that goes just in the shop around the corner to buy what he missed. So, okay, let's set these expectations.
So set the expectations.
Yeah,
right
set
from the start.
expectations.
Thomas.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm really into this data. If we can combine a lot of data together, there's a less waste for buyers. And that's what's programmatic. For me, it's less waste, and that you really find the target. So we're not there yet, but I assume together with the retailers, we will be there.
Cool. Martin?
I think for retailers is knowing what you are worth. You have so much data, use that, and be optimistic about it. I think there's absolutely no reason not to look into it and try to test it out. We work with many merchants that are doing it, and they have a lot of success.
Good.
So being optimistic.
Be optimistic. Good. Dylan?
I would say don't read too much about retail media. Start reorganizing. Don't have a sales department, legal department, tech department, marketing department. Have one with the same goal. I think you need to do that journey first, and then you can start looking at how you're going to sell your data. So, you know, don't start backwards. Reorganize is what I want to send.
Good. With those words, we want to thank you all for your insights and sharing them. And let's give them a big hand.
Thank you.
Thank you.